Hi Scorpio, welcome to your June 2020 Astro Alchemy. It's Raina here. So you have the Sun and Venus retrograde in your house, which is the eighth house. On the Sun until the 20th. Venus is going direct on the 25th, but will still be in Gemini throughout the whole month. Now, Venus in the eighth house can be other people's money. A real indication that money might be emphasized because Venus as a planetary influence as it transits can be about money. But this is a money house, so you have that double effect. So in retrograde, there could be some review about who gets what. And the eighth house can be inheritances, since this is the house of death. Death plus other people's money is inheritance. But of course, there are other circumstances like divorce cases and even taxes and insurance payouts and things like that. So keeping it more generalized, it could be that sort of thing going on. But definitely with the sun in this house too, you're feeling like yourself. It's almost like having a solar return or something, having the sun in the eighth house for you. And that can even lead to, like, if there is, let's say there's inheritance issues, to really say to yourself, what is the meaning of life? It's kind of a funny thing that the eighth house represents other people's money as well as death, as well as the meaning of life, or the secrets of the universe is probably more like it. The ninth house is more of the philosophical angle. This is more about metaphysics. But it's just funny to have metaphysics and money both in the same area. But in any case, you might be thinking very deeply about this and how you want to handle something, especially if it is something related to inheritance where there may be family members and you may be like, I don't want things to get ugly. I don't want to have us be estranged from one another. And that makes perfect sense. Even if other people are bad actors, you don't have to get in the mud with them and stay above the fray. Mars is going to be in fellow water sign Pisces until the 27th. So that's a friendly angle. That's a trine. And that is going to be the fifth house for you. This is a house of romance, Scorpio. Now, here's an interesting thing. So Scorpio rules the eighth house, and this is spiritual or magical sex. And the fifth house is recreational sex, but also conceiving children sex. So to me, that's not recreational. That should be very intentional. So I'm not quite sure how, why that is connected to the fifth house, but the fifth house in general, we could say, is a house of pleasure. So with Mars here, you may be actively pursuing pleasure. You may be, June in the Northern Hemisphere is summer. And summer is a time when those of us who live with harsh winters can, enjoy ourselves and not suffer for a change. So you may just be grabbing the gusto, to use a 1970s beer commercial slogan, and trying to, have your fun while you can. Thinking about world events in terms of lockdown stuff. This is going to be a time when I think a lot of, at least in North America and Europe, I think a lot of the lockdown will be kind of coming to an end to some degree, at least going to more freedom. And that can lead to more active, fun activities. The fifth house can be sporting events. Perhaps you even competing in them, because Mars can be quite competitive. It can be anything that has to do with concerts and theater and, artistic self-expression. And if you are an active participant in that, creativity is the fifth house. So just really getting involved in it, full throttle. But Mars is a sex drive. In the fifth house, it could be being very randy, being, let's say you are coming from a divorce situation and you're a free agent. You might be like, hey, I'm sowing my wild oats. Oh, wait a minute. Is it sowing my oats or wild oats? I know there's a supermarket chain called Wild Oats. I might be getting my cliches mixed up here. Yeah, I think it's Wild Oats. So then on the 27th, Mars goes into its own sign of Aries, and then everything gets down to brass tacks. This is the sixth house. It's more about discipline, about how you order your day. It's about health. So it's almost like going from competitive sports to more of an exercise regimen. And the sixth house can even be like working overtime. So maybe in June you're still unemployed or underemployed and you have more time on your hands. But then if there's an ease on restrictions, you may be able to indulge in pastimes more easily. And then at the end of the month, going into July, there's, the work kicks in full time and you are now more involved in a schedule, maybe working overtime, somehow being more driven about your health in terms of exercise, kind of cracking the whip a little bit more with yourself. And even the Mars in the sixth house can be some kind of conflict in the workplace. And I had another sign. It's kind of weird that I know why I was thinking this, because I was doing another sign where Mars is in this house for most of the month. You're getting it at the end. And basically what I was saying is that especially because of the current situation, people that are transitioning back into what used to be may find that everything has changed, because you can't, enter the same river twice. You can try to replicate what you had before in a certain environment, but things have changed forever. So even though they try to implement things from the top down, it's not necessarily going to just flow. So basically what I'm trying to say is that conflicts may arise as people go back to work and they realize that they were able, especially if they were, working from home and were able to do so, and now they're forced to tolerate coworkers that they may have been very irritated by. Maybe they have to work in close quarters. Sometimes when people feel out of control, they become more controlling. So there could be power plays in the workplace with Mars here. And that could create a bit of conflict. On the 5th of the month, we have a lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Sag. So Sagittarius is your second house, Scorpio. However, if you're born from about it would be the 16th degree to the 29th degree, so the second half of Scorpio, generally speaking, you will have this in your first house and not in your second house. For those who have this in your second house, this can be money coming to you all at once, perhaps because you worked for it, and it's now time to reap the rewards. This is a powerful full moon, so this can be like the harvest coming in, and therefore there can be this sense of finally getting all the money that you were deserved. That maybe, and this is, remember, this is still during the Venus retrograde, and I always say that I think sometimes the Venus retrograde can give us money that we were supposed to get the first time around, or you know what I'm saying, just taking advantage of an opportunity or something that we were supposed to get. These can be deceptive partners, addictive partners. Neptune can bring artistic partners, but artistic inspiration in general. So anybody who has artistic tendencies, this may have been a very fruitful 8 years for you. And when Neptune is retrograde, you may go, dang, I don't know if I'm as good as I think I am, or a lot of this was crap, even though I was prolific. I don't think a lot of it is salvageable. I don't know. Hopefully it's not anything that bad. But it can certainly take the bloom off the rose, or make you more realistic. I don't want to just paint it as a negative thing, because I think it can be more positive than negative. Make you more realistic about fifth house matters. On the 25th, Venus turns direct, and again, it's in Gemini, so it's in that 8th house. And so resolving money matters that involve other people as well. And even like soulmate situations or love relationships at an intimate level, sexual relationships that are connected to your romantic life. If there's been some kind of fallout for some reason, maybe one person has been working a lot, and so they're not able to put, enough time in the relationship. Who knows? But anyway, you can get these things resolved and kind of have a bonding experience. Okay, that's what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope this resonated. If you'd like a personal reading, the link is below to my online ordering page. Thank you for listening tonight. I hope I didn't say that already. And have a great June. Bye.